I got myself a haircut. Da 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 da. It's the one and only D-O-double-G. I like that song. It's been stuck in my head for the past day. Although I do know that the real lyrics are da 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 da. It's the motherfucking D-O-double-G. But the radio edit says it's the one and only D-O. You get it? Today's Saturday video is brought to you by hashtag not actually sponsored 100 grand. You got 6 of them. These little things for $1 at the dollar store. That is 17 cents a piece. Do you know how much of a deal that is? 17 cents a piece. 16. 16.5? 16.75? One of my favorite pastimes while watching YouTube videos is estimating the percentage of likes to dislikes. Every time I watch a YouTube video, I look at the likes, I look at the dislikes, I'm saying, So a good like to dislike ratio is 1% dislike. Anything higher than 5% dislike, that video is iffy. Anything above 10% dislikes, that video is controversial. And anything with 20% or more dislikes is probably not worth watching. And then you have YouTube Rewind, which people hated. My channel, thankfully, has mostly likes because apparently people really like my videos and no one dislikes. Although, since I'm talking about this, I'm afraid someone might actually dislike the video just to be a contrarian. I believe that happens. People dislike videos just to be contrarians. Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking D-O-double-G. And you like mouth sounds? I kind of like mouth sounds. $100 grams are really caramely. There's a lot of caramel in these. Caramel or caramel? Which one? I call it caramel. Yeah, that's me. Eating 100 grams while recording a video. I'm debating whether or not to actually respond to a comment I got in my previous video about God. I suppose I'll respond to it. So basically, if you're the person who commented this, I apologize if I offend you in some way. Not really, but I mean, I gotta say sorry beforehand because I might tear into you for being not deluded, but more of closed-minded. Basically, the commenter said, I'm not going to give their name, the commenter said, God deserves worship because he is God. And I think that is the most I'm trying to be soft here, soft on the commenter in case they're watching this video. Hello. I'm explaining my rebuttal to that. First of all, it's totally circular reasoning. Like, you give something the moniker of God, and because that thing has the moniker of God, they are worship. They deserve worship. Like, God deserves worship because he is God. Well, no. Nobody deserves anything purely based on their name, who you call them. Yeah? And, see, you can't use the name of something to invoke justice. Like, I don't know. So, I'm trying to come up with an analogy of what that's like that would make it seem to be out of place. But in the end, God deserves worship because He is God. Is putting down the rationality of the human race. So we humans shouldn't be bound to worship anything because we don't have to. I'm trying to put together an argument here. I've been watching a lot of Jordan Peterson recently, and he's really good at this. He's really good at taking someone's comment or attack on his theorizing and really giving it to them. But in the end, this comment was. See, the reason why I'm having so much trouble is because with a comment such as that, there's no fighting it on logic. You can't really use logic to fight a circular reasoning. Like, I know why that is a misleading thought, but I can't really articulate it in a way that would cause the thinker of the misarticulated thought to change their mind. I mean, there are plenty of arguments as to why God deserves worship. It's just that I don't believe that God deserves worship simply because He is God. Because no one, like, we humans don't deserve anything. We have human rights, yeah, but like, it's such a broad statement that it's difficult to really put into words exactly why it's not the argument you should be making. I'm not refuting the fact that God deserves worship. I'm refuting the fact that God deserves worship because He's God. I mean, if you want to worship God, go ahead, but and technically I do also, but not at the same time. I'm in a little bit of a weird position myself, but the whole idea is that you don't use the title given to a being to justify giving other things to such a being. So, like, if another culture calls our God the devil and says the devil deserves your hatred because he's the devil, but we say, oh no, this guy isn't the devil, he's God. He deserves worship because he's God. And it's like, how do you reconcile those two things, you know? The God to some people may not be the God to other people. I mean, would you believe that Allah deserves worship because He's Allah, or would you believe that Buddha deserves worship because he's? See, that's where the argument falls apart. It's like the name of something, the essence, the name of something is separate from its essence, and the essence of something is separate from its deservedness. So, calling something a name does not change what that thing deserves, and the essence of a thing may change what it deserves, but it's not because of the essence. Like I don't know. You get? I don't think you get where I'm going at this point. It bothered me because it's just not the best way to argue for your point is to use circular reasoning, and I can't really, it's like, why do you think that way? Like, what is it about God that makes Him deserve worship? Like, is it because He's kind? No, He's not kind. There's no way He's kind. Like, with all the people dying and all the people washed away. See, I think the proof is that God is not kind. He's not fair either. Because I believe that the God Christians worship doesn't really exert much force on reality, because he just God as a religious concept just doesn't work, because there's suffering, there's pain, there's various other things that are very bad, that are either caused by humans or caused by the environment, and they happen randomly. They happen totally randomly, because there's no, I have not heard of a study that says that praying for something changes the outcome in any manner. So why do you pray? When you maybe you talk about the emotional benefits of praying. Yes, there are emotional benefits to praying, but there are emotional benefits to any form of release, any form of catharsis. Prayer is just catharsis attached to the idea of a higher being. Catharsis. Do you know what catharsis is? Catharsis is the release of tension within the self. And I believe that the only benefit that God provides is catharsis. Catharsis is important, yes. You can make I believe that the Christian religion can be justified through catharsis, because catharsis is very important in the human experience. Like, if you don't release your tension, if you don't run away, if you don't figure out a way to relieve death anxiety, you live a life that is less meaningful. If you believe that when you die, you disappear, it makes life so much more difficult to realize that you're going to die. And I believe that the Christian religion, or any religion in general that promotes an afterlife, can be justified through its effect on the human psyche. Like, you don't have to bother justifying, oh, I worship God because he does all these good things to people. No, you don't have to justify that. You say, I worship God because he makes me feel good when I pray to him, you know? And that's the, you know what, that's my answer. Why does God deserve worship? Because when you worship God, you feel better about yourself. And that's not bad. That doesn't degrade the reality of a religion. It probably improves your experience of religion if you realize that the only reason why you pray to God is for catharsis, because oh my gosh, I'm not gonna pass this test, I'm gonna pray to God. You literally measurably relieve anxiety through this prayer. Like, I don't know if anyone's done any studies on it, but I get the feeling that the main purpose of prayer about something is to relieve anxiety surrounding the thing. And you know what? Prayer doesn't change anything physical. You can pray for $1 million right now, you won't get it. 99.9910 to the 1,000, you won't get it. You won't get $1 million just by praying for it. You won't get $10 by praying for it. You get $10 by working for it. But if you pray and say, I pray that you give me my daily bread, you don't worry about getting your daily bread. You go about your life working yourself to the bone to get your daily bread, and you think God gave it to you. When in reality, you gave it to you, or your society gave it to you, or your human rights gave it to you. But thinking that it comes from God, it just consolidates everything. I believe God deserves to be worshipped because the worship of God is cathartic and beneficial to the human psyche, not because his name is God. I do believe that the real God, the one who created life on planet Earth, is much more eldritch. You know the meme about Bible accurate angels, how they're absolutely eldritch. They're crazy, like wheels of eyes and shit like that. That's what God is like. God is like one of those angels you see in the real angel memes. He's absolutely eldritch, inscrutable. You look upon God and you see absolute eternity, but eternity through novelty. It's just a pulsating, colorful wheel of creation and destruction and all this stuff. That's God. So the God who created life, if you insist on creationism, you haven't been to an organic chemistry class. You haven't studied biology to the extent that you should. Creationism, I think any being who could have designed life from the ground up to what it is right now without the use of evolution or any other long-term formula would be so intelligent and observant that they wouldn't care about humans. Humans are ants. Us humans, we're ants compared to God. And then some people say, well, God might still love us as ants. That's possible. Yes, that's possible. But at the same time, even if God loves this ant colony, this particular ant colony God loves, we can't understand God. We can't understand anything about him. We can't say anything about him. You know, it's like, and he doesn't science. God doesn't science, which is the main reason why I believe that Christians are, or anyone who worships anything, that's why I believe they are misguided. They're not wrong, they're misguided, because there is a imaginary realm inhabited by divine beings that is accessible through mundane techniques. I believe in the mundanification of religion. I believe that religion should take the place, religion in politics should fill the same role, at least in America. I believe that the right religion is one where you accept what science or what you see and what science says about what you see. It's just, there's a whole lot. There's just a whole lot out there. And I think most people, the reason why they're religious is because they want to feel included. They want relief from death anxiety. They want to be part of a clique. Human beings form into cliques. It's just part of our nature. And religion is just an easy way to do so. That's why there are so many different religions. That's why there are so many different sub-religions. That's why there are so many different denominations of all these religions. And they kill each other. Why do they kill each other? Because we need a justification to do so. Religion is just a justification. Religion is Vaseline for the soul. It's not saving your soul. It's putting Vaseline on it. That's all that I believe religion is. I don't think it's misguided. Like I said before, I think it is completely justified. I believe that believing in God does not make you a lesser person, but it does not make you a greater person. Because you can go through a cathartic change. You can go through a cathartic rebirth without the use of religion. You can kick your drug habit without the use of religion. You can kick your alcohol habit. You can go to war and come home. You can survive a ship without religion, because the God that everyone worships, be it Buddha or the Hindu gods or Allah or Yahweh or whoever, they don't show themselves. They don't show themselves. Not that I've noticed. Not that I've heard of. Although I have heard of miracles happening. But there's no attributable, you can't really attribute those to your, like, has anyone who's watching this video ever experienced a real miracle? And I'm talking like get up and stand, take your mat kind of miracle, you know? Have you ever witnessed that? And it cannot involve modern medicine, okay? If someone was paralyzed and modern medicine saved them, attribute the miracle to modern medicine. However, if someone was paralyzed, and either through praying or through the touch of an elder, they stand up on their legs and go, oh my gosh, I'm clean. Or if someone's blind and you touch them on the eyes and, oh my gosh, I can see. Don't point to the miracles in the Bible, okay? The Bible was written 2,000 years ago, okay? You've got enough mileage out of those miracles. I believe that the Bible has been run ragged on, like all of the stuff in the Bible has been used to prove things for 2,000 years, and it's proved so many different things. You're running it ragged. Get some new material, dude. Would you use a medical textbook that was 2,000 years old? Would you hand a medical student a textbook from Hippocrates about the four humors? You know what I'm saying? Why do we use religious texts that are 2,000 years old? Why do we worship these religious texts that are 2,000 years old? You know? And of course, there's always the problem that new religions are usually iffy. You know, the only thing that's good about long-standing traditional religions is that they're entrenched and they know what their identity is. I think Mormons are worse than Christians because they're newer. The newer a religion is, the less accepting it is. I don't know. Religion's a big deal. Back to the original comment, and then I'll end this video. Why is it that God deserves worship just because he's God? Why? Does being God automatically include, does being God automatically require worship or automatically deserve worship? Why? What about the nature of God makes him deserving of worship? There are a lot of things that are deserving of worship. There are a lot of things like electricity and running water and stuff like that. Do we worship electricity? No, we don't. Do we worship the internet? Maybe we do, but at the same time, we probably don't in the way that religious people worship their gods. It's an ontological question. A difficult one to talk about. Maybe in my next video I'll expand upon this question after I mull over it for some more. But the conclusion is, if you want to worship God, go ahead. Just don't use God as an excuse to be a dick, okay? That's it. That's the basics. You want to worship, you can worship whoever you want to worship. Just don't use it to justify yourself being a dick to others, okay? Zibabez, signing out. Uh-oh.